Welcome. Good evening, everybody.
Is it Thursday?
Is it Thursday yet?
Thursday yet?
You may certainly try to make it Thursday. Welcome to episode 31 of Lawfully Chaotic. With me, as always, are my awesome co-hosts, Jason Baldrick of TTRPG Academy, and Sharon Smith, the wonderful Barry Bot and her ears.
And I have gamer chair.
And your gamer chair. Yeah. I am Brian Weiss of RPG and Company, and we welcome you to the show tonight. Tonight, we are going to be rolling characters and talking about character creation, and with help from the chat. So this should be really fun. We're going to do 3 different methods of character rolling, and bring the chat into that. We're going to spend the first 10 minutes or so talking about character creation, so we can give a chance for everybody to get on, and then dive into the chaos.
Yes.
I want to thank Sharon for her research on how to be a DM, which was supposed to be tonight's topic. And like an idiot, I got the ad out this morning and focused on our Rolling Characters show, which was at a later date. So, Sharon, seems my job is to make your job more difficult. Sorry about that.
You know, it goes along with the theme of Lawfully Chaotic. You know, there has to be some chaos involved. I'm the lawful part. I think that just works out.
There you go. Perfect. That's going in the mission statement. Once every 5 episodes, must do things wrong and badly. Anyway, all right. First of all, any announcements, Jason?
Table number 10 should be announced within the next week or so, as I am tackling Divergence with my new campaign framework. I think that's really the only thing I got announceable from that part of the world.
Okay.
Tuesday night may become a private brand table. I'm either going to do it online or in studio. I don't know yet. Primarily because I now that my Monday night game is, live in our game room, I'm having a hard time right now, going back to, online for Tuesday. So I'm kind of thinking, Tuesday may be another live in the studio one. I just don't know if I want to include in the new framework or, the new framework I built, or do a different one. But yeah.
I'm kind of getting the bug too to get back in person.
Yeah.
So, Sharon, got any announcements?
Hey guys, I don't really have any announcements other than that I had my recent D&D session last Saturday for the Graying Lands. We will be off for this weekend, so if you haven't already, feel free to check us out. There are multiple VODs on the channel right now, so feel free to check us out when you have a chance.
Cool.
The D&D Club Twitch.
Awesome. Announcements. Oh, I have. So I am collaborating. We are collaborating as we build this empire of creativity with Brian the Bearded Nerd. And I am. He has given me permission to share his document for character creation prompts, which fits perfectly into tonight's show. So he has been working on that. I have taken it from him and given it a pretty face and some makeup. And we are going to be offering that as a digital download.
No way.
Yep, none too soon. But we get to preview it tonight. Also, I took my first foray into resin casting. I made a little healing potion here. Mostly because after 30 years of play, I can still not fucking remember how many dice you roll for a fucking healing potion. But yep, just like that. I'm gonna do a. It's not done. I'm gonna do a wax seal and whatnot. There's some hearts in there, but this was a super simple kind of test run for resin pouring. And I got to tell you, even after something as simple as this, I have new appreciation for all of the fantastic dice makers out there and what they do with resin. For real.
Acrylic molds, baby. Acrylic molds.
Yep.
Rubber, like I know the one that Callista has. She's got a dice mold, and I think we picked up acrylic filler to like experiment with it. So I thought that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna do some more of these.
Lots of glitter. Lots of glitter.
I got some mica powder, which is like, oh my god. So the mica powder, which I'm sure anybody who's done resin casting is familiar with, is like, it's like Nova glitter. Okay, it's glitter to the nth degree. You think glitter gets everywhere? You fucking look at this shit, and it's all over the house.
It's what the Fae snort on a Friday night and wake up Monday morning.
Oh my god! If you sneeze into a jar of this, you might as well just move. Anyway, okay. Let's start talking about character creation.
How dare you? How dare
Yeah.
Well, and I think to preface this conversation about character creation, I rarely ever get to create them. Like I mostly create narrative player characters. That's what I focus on. Either characters designed for the campaign or designed for storytelling or designed to support the narrative, however they're going to be interjected. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to building a character for once. I think that'd be kind of nice.
Awesome.
Sharon's a like professional. I think she's got like 1,200 characters built somewhere. I'm almost positive.
you know.
I just
try to be modest with that number.
So you have as many characters as I have dice. It's funny because I just created a new character. So my OG crew, one of us has offered to start another new campaign. So I get to roll another new character. I am a gnome turned Dhampir paladin.
What?
Now come on.
And his name is Steve.
You're just being dark boy edgy. You're just being dark. You're being dark boy edgy. You're just being a goth. Right? You're a goth gnome.
So Gary just popped in. He's our DM. Are you done yet? Am I done yet with 2 weeks to go? That's a stupid question, Gary. You know I have 2 weeks more of fiddling around to do. Come on. How long have you known me?
I mean, gnomes are in now, Jason. So I'm not.
Yeah, what do you got against short people, Jason?
It's not about gnomes. It's about the goth stuff.
The goth stuff.
Can be goth.
No,
Clearly
he's not.
That's what you're going for.
No, he's very outgoing. He's not. He's actually not so goth. I think I'm going to have a real fun.
Goth can be outgoing.
He has to wear black nail polish to the games now.
Yes, I agree. Black shirt.
No, I think I'm gonna have an interesting time playing the Dhampir nature versus the paladin. But it's vengeance, oath of vengeance. So I got a whole backstory wrote. But
yeah, is it all spelled the same way you wrote?
Yep. I was born long ago in a little gnome town. So okay, so you have so it's gonna be a great episode tonight. Gary, you might want to grab an extra beer.
I know. Wouldn't it be funny if there was like a witch who couldn't spell and she'd make terrible spell casting?
Wait. So Matt is also in the group. Just wanted to first was the anger at one D&D customization, then you created a happy god.
Right? That's what I was talking about. Totally.
Fuck
totally. You didn't even have like it in mind to make it a tiefling. You just went right for happy gothy gnome.
No, because I like the non. Well, I could say non-tropey, although this may be tropey as hell. But no, I like putting together shit that does not normally fit. And the idea of a gnome paladin just makes me laugh.
That's fair. Cher, what's your next character going to be? Because you're in a campaign that's going to wrap up pretty soon.
I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards more tiefling maybe a samurai class. I don't know.
Ooh.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
But
Wait.
I'm also looking forward to tonight's character creation because chat, you are going to help me create a character,
Yes,
whether
you are.
it's super
That way we
suave
can
or
blame it
super
on chat,
silly.
not on us.
That's right. Yeah. So the crap that we end up with is all your guys' fault. Matt, are you done with your character, by the way, or are you just still farting around on Hero Forge? That's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing for the past 2 days is building our tokens for Roll20 on Hero
gosh.
Forge. It's been a really productive week.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
right.
Sharon. Okay, so we're going to try to explore 3 different methods of creating a character here. So Jason, Jason is going to utilize an online tool that you will TetraCube that you will reveal. Sharon, you are going to basically run through like a normal character creation, but with chat's input. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, you and me chat.
Okay. And then I am going to do a completely randomized character. I'm going to try to roll for everything, race, scores, class, everything, and just see what kind of mishmash we end up with. But we're looking to chat to help us through this.
It's gonna be great.
I was hoping that like Vince would be on and those guys. So let's spend another 5 minutes or so just talking about character creation and where the inspiration comes from. Like, how do you guys approach character creation?
Ooh, I think we should start with Barry on this one because
Okay.
I know.
Well,
I know I love Mira. I think Mira is an amazing character.
I love her too. She's great.
You know, you may actually have to change your social tag to Mirabot.
No, or change it to Mirametrics.
Mirametrics.
Well, that should be your website URL.
Yes. Yeah, I like for the samurai character I want to make, it's more of kind of like a rip off sort of
or
I
a
don't know if you-
borrow.
or
A
a
borrow.
borrowed.
Just a borrow.
I humbly borrowed from this franchise. I don't know if you guys ever played Tekken, but there's this character named Yoshimitsu. And he's this,
I remember Yoshimitsu.
Yeah, he's so cool. So sorry guys, I didn't mean to blast out yours. But I was thinking like, or maybe I should make it a human variant samurai, because I was thinking like it would be cool if this samurai was just like a ghost, and that every time they put their mask on, they're like in their human form or whatever, but when they take it off, they're like this like ghostly form. I don't know, like they're like a skeleton and they're ghostly.
You could use what's the Japanese mythology of the fox, the many-tailed fox, which is actually like a female. Yeah, which is like a female spirit.
Yeah,
or
Love,
an
Death,
Oni.
Robots. Did
Oni. Is it an Oni? No, Oni is.
Well, Oni
no.
are just like bad spirits, I believe.
Maybe it is.
I think Love, Death, Robots did.
Kitsune. Yeah, Kitsune.
Yeah.
Thank you. Both Gary and Torchseer. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Now, see, Gary's the pragmatist. What don't we have?
Yeah, so I think it would be super interesting to like play a class that isn't like, I'm not sure if samurais are spellcasting, but no, I don't think they are. But I think it would be cool to do a melee class. Yeah.
So what do you?
But I'm excited for that.
So where do you get your inspiration for coming up with a character? And I don't mean like, I'm basing it off of this character from a TV show, but how do you decide I guess I should say, how do you decide where you will pull your inspiration from? How do you decide, like, what are you going to be? What are you going to do?
I think more of just feeling like, I guess like feeling the mood of what you want to play in. Because like, to be fair, like the other character that I was playing when I'm playing Mira was Gyros Cabernet. And she was a tiefling rogue arcane trickster, and she was like completely different Demira, like just she'll start a bar fight essentially. She's that yeah, she's that person. And that was my feeling behind creating that character is like I need to jump out of this person that I'm so accustomed to playing and do something completely different. I want to have like a stark opposite of this person. So that was my drive for the rogue. So I think it is about feeling.
Well, how much of the campaign do you think you need to know?
What about for you guys?
Well, hey Bear, are you there? Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? No,
Hello? It's not on.
I'm getting latency. So we have a huge fire going on right now. We have a 23 or 25,000 acre fire, not more than a mile from here.
Oh shit! Are you serious?
Yeah, it's huge. It's the biggest one in Southern California right now.
Oh my god!
We've been doing horse rescue for the last couple days. But Bear, do you think you need to know about the campaign as you go to pick?
I think so, but then there's also like those characters where you just make on the fly just because like it just hits you like a lightning bolt, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the same thing.
So you asked where I generally so it's funny. I like playing and I'm going to get called out for this in about 30 seconds. I know it. So Matt, I hope your ears are on. I like to play like I don't like min-max, as you guys know. Okay. I like to try to do race and class mixes that are outside the ordinary. I would say non-tropey characters, even though by the time I'm done, they end up tropey as hell. Like the gnome goth vampire paladin. But like, you know, with the gnome paladin, or I have a dwarf war mage. You know, that so I like to I also very much like, what do I want to play? I generally start with class. All right. I decide what class I want to play, and then I give thought to what race I want to play. But I always like to try to create something that doesn't necessarily work together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just to try playing something different, and I think I like to make up the mechanical shortcomings through role play.
Is it good to make chaotic characters, do you think? Like, and actually play them in like a serious campaign?
Sure, why not? If you play it well. I mean, chaotic character does not necessarily mean a murder hobo. Like, hey, can I buy a drink? How much is that? It's 5 silver. Fuck you, slice.
Well, I was thinking like, what's that elephant race? What are they called?
Luxodons.
Luxodon. So I saw a meme post saying that they're gonna make their Luxodon character a rogue, so that way they don't detect the elephant in the room.
They ignore the elephant in the room. That's brilliant.
I was like, oh my god.
That would be an awesome like racial feature. Like, if you stand still, you have +10 to stealth because nobody wants to acknowledge you're there.
That is funny.
Oh my god. That's
hysterical.
Awesome.
In chat, if you have any fun character creations that you have made, feel free to share them. I would love to hear them.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't delved into any really exotic races yet.
Really?
Interestingly enough, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess a half vampire gnome.
What do you stylize as an exotic race?
I think anything outside of probably the Player's Handbook, I would say, are exotic races.
So, like, basically anything like in Tasha's and UA and a lot of those. Kobold.
I think a kobold would be fun as hell.
As long as it's kobold.
Kobold.
ALD.
Well, I guess for me it would be a kobold. Jace, what about you? Where do you? Well, you said you never create characters, so you have no inspiration.
it's funny. Sometimes I'll create them just to learn the mechanics a little bit and
Uh-huh.
see players' point of view about how they, interact with their characters sometimes.
That's a
Um,
really interesting point.
So from a stylized perspective of a character, right? Whenever I feel like just building a character because I just want to experiment what players are doing to build characters,
Mm-hmm.
I find myself tending to build them very, very, very not to the stats. Like, I love experimenting with the idea of just blind rolling the stats as is, and then figuring out how to make it work with what you got. And then once you do that, trying to figure out how the campaign itself allows you to, experiment with your character as you move through it. To me, that just sounds like absolutely the most fun thing to do.
Interesting. I like that.
Like a like a 17 intelligence barbarian. I mean, what could be more fun?
Right. Exactly. Okay, why don't we jump in then? So we're gonna do this kind of. We're gonna take turns, but we want the chat to interact. So Jace. So once again, Jace, you're using, what is it?
It's called Tetracube.
Tetracube. Okay. Sharon, you are normally building a character.
Yes, going
using D&D Beyond, and I'm going to use D&D Beyond just to track everything, but I'm going to randomize everything. So, who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Should we do scores first, or should we pick a race and a class? What do you guys want to do? Chat, what should we do? Start with scores, start with race, start with class. Anyone?
It's already too late to start with class.
Why? I get it. Wait, where's my no one? Bueller. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I start? Because I'm going random on everything. So let's just start with race.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I need to find a chart of all the races.
Homebrew or non-homebrew? If you click the homebrew selector, it's pretty amazing how many.
Non-homebrew. Okay, you guys start off. Jason, why don't you start with your tool there?
Okay.
And I'll look up where I could find all of the races that I could roll from.
And chat, I'm going to start first by rolling a d12 to pick out the race, and then you'll take a turn in choosing what type of class. So feel free.
Wait, where are you getting a D12 from? Just the basic races?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll have them choose the different variants. I was like, I have a D12 in my hand.
But actually, that brings up an interesting point, because there used to be a time in the kind of like in the second edition world of D&D, you kind of that's kind of how you did everything. You did everything on random tables if you wanted to. No, we're not using D&D 1 rules.
Yeah, we're gonna skip the D&D 1 rules for now because it's too much up in the air.
Yeah. Playtest content can be a little weird, a little wonky. So I use this really cool tool called Tetracube, and I've done some Twitch streaming about it and talking about it. Yeah, good point, Torch. Sometimes when you couldn't make a decision, you just kind of hit. You go to the random tables, you roll some D100s, and just kind of build something.
Where did Brian go?
I don't know. He probably blew up. He probably hit a button that was like boom, and he blew up.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, there he is.
Hit the back button in the wrong browser.
So what's really funny, or what's really fun with this Tetracube design, is this allows me to build everything but the stats. That way I can still use other creative ways to build the stats if I choose to. But I do a lot of my character creation via my narrative need, and not so much I'm a player in a campaign. But the one thing I love about this thing is you can choose the different books.
That's so cool.
That you want to select from your. So if you really just wanted to kind of have like an old school interpretation, you could just kind of take everything out, right? You take everything out and just make it the player's handbook, and then generate a character. And then Hasid Reen, so it gives you a name, human barbarian, path of the berserker, charlatan background, Kalashite male, 41 years, right? So
well, wait a minute, we're doing score. Is this? It just spits out your.
You just wanted me to start with my tool, so
okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing this part first, and then I'm gonna,
and then the stats will follow.
Yeah, and then the stats will follow. So normally what I do is when I'm trying to come up with an idea or a concept, I like using this generator. So a lot of times you could just keep clicking it and get these random outcomes, these random ideas. I like to look at this part, right? I'll look at
she's a spy.
Wood Elf Cleric domain, knowledge domain. And that's the crazy thing. This is where I don't feel like I don't envy you guys at all when you build your characters, because honestly, there's so many subclass choices now. If your stats and your main class alignments aren't quite what you want them to be, I kind of feel like you can use a subclass association to kind of get what you want, out of it instead. So one of the things I like to do is, once I know a character idea that I have here, if I like, let's say I like her, but her occupation seems okay for a background, but I can still randomize other things about her. Maybe I want to go with a gnome instead, so I can keep everything else, but randomize the race. Or maybe I just want to do a half elf and generate that half elf. And then, I've got the half elf. So I use this tool to build the bones and the structure of the character. And then really all I do is I go to D&D Beyond. Come on, why didn't you take me there? Why are you doing this?
Is it export straight to it or something?
So here, if I go to the homepage of D&D Beyond, sometimes, that's what I wish they would fix that, but I know they don't. So in create character, sometimes what I'll do is I'll use the randomized feature, which Barrybot's going to roll, kind of run everyone through. Other times I'll just go to my character list, and I know this is embarrassing. I have so many characters in my character list. It's ridiculous. So for example, I might come in here, which, by the way, Barry bought level 9 Aarakocra I built, right? But just, I'll come into like, these are ridiculous names.
Sock sniffer.
Don't.
So
what I'll do is I'll go into a character that's already built. I'll come down to my dice generator, and then I'll come down here and I'll start rolling my sets of 4, right? Gotcha. And then, keep the 3 high, toss the low, and just doing it that way. Okay. And then I use that stat set, the tetracube setup, and then boom, I've built a character that I'm going to try to plug into a campaign. Now, because they're built in the traditional way, you can actually use them as a playing character if you wanted to. You don't necessarily have to not use them as a player character. But yeah, that's my process.
That looks like a really good tool for building narrative player characters also.
Yeah, that's and to me, I build it in such a way that it could potentially come a player character. Now, I use D&D Beyond because it's fun, it's digital, it's easy. But every now and then I catch myself breaking out a notepad and pulling out the player's handbook that we have in the studio and just opening the book and rolling some dice and doing the old mechanical way of just kind of assembling a character from scratch. It's fun to do it that way.
Yeah, it is.
I think it is a lot of fun to do it that way.
I still do that sometimes. All right, I found a list of races, playable races, and it happens to be 50.
Wow.
So I'm going to roll a D100, and this will start us off. Okay.
Hey, there's that new one. Threekeen.
All right. So, are we ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
I've already rolled. So, Chad, I have chosen a genasi. Now it's up to you to decide what type of element I will be for this character.
All right. So I got a 23. So that would put me at what, 12? Number 12 on the list, or 11?
3 plus 2 is 5.
Wait. I'm dividing by 2. Am I rounding up or down?
Let's round up. I think rounding up's okay.
All right, so it's 12 on the last. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh, look,
I'm a fairy.
toasthouse.com.
I'm a fairy.
Ooh.
All right,
And
so
what books are those from?
Everything.
Well, no, it had 2 acronyms next to it.
Hmm?
You see the acronyms next to the racial list?
Sword Coast Adventure. Wait.
So scroll down to fairy.
Yeah.
So it's from
Monsters.
UTW.
Monsters of the Multiverse.
Yeah.
And what's WBTW?
That's a good question. I don't know what that one is.
Aside from a TV station. Wilderness. No. Wildmount. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
That's interesting how they do that. I always love how.
Okay, so I'm going to go with standard build.
Uh-oh.
And we're going to do homebrew this. We're going to do that. We're just going to do everything. I always do customize origin. I do that. I do milestone, hit point. I do manual. We don't really use encumbrance.
Oh, I do, baby.
Okay,
just in case you get that player that wants to carry all 12 of the halberds out of the
that would be me. Okay, so I'm a fairy. I am a fairy.
A fairy.
I am a fae. I am small.
That's your lineage, right? That's your lineage. Your race is fairy.
Yeah. Okay. And so and Sharon, what's your genasi?
I am.
Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Thank you, Torch.
I'm waiting for chat to decide. I have 4 different classes for the genasi. I have an air genasi, earth genasi, fire, and water.
Come on,
Somebody
Torch.
pick.
What should she be?
If not, I already ruled.
Okay, well, my first choice is air. Okay, you're air.
Right.
All right, my first choice is charisma, intelligence, or wisdom for my magic. So let's roll that. I got a 2, so it is charisma. All right. Okay, what do you want to... Jace, what about you?
I don't know.
I'm actually curious about naming the air genasi. Should it be funny?
Let's do a class first, and then we'll come up with a name.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, I always have an affinity for artificers. I always do. But I'm wondering, you know what?
14 classes. Well, that's in D&D Beyond. Right?
Let's see. Do you want me to randomize or do standard? Do standard? You want me to do standard?
What's standard in that tool?
Well, no, TetraCube doesn't have the same kind of build options. It's just a random generator every time. The whole thing in TetraCube's random.
No, I'm doing this is all mine is all dice. So I'm gonna roll 14. So let's just do I'll do a D12, and if I get a 12, I'll roll a D6 to determine if it's 12, 13, or 14.
Okay. I am going to
This is gonna be interesting dice math here tonight.
Well, I'm wondering if I want to select only certain books though. So
I'm going totally random on everything for me. I want to see what we end up with.
I'm going to keep Tasha's. I'm going to keep Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I'm
All
going
right,
to
I'm gonna.
add.
Well, you're clicking those. I'm gonna roll the
Arcana.
d12, and I got a 6. So, oh man,
An Explorer's
What?
Guide to Wild.
it's a fucking druid.
That's perfect.
God damn
Love of
it!
the druid.
The
Perfect.
hubris.
Oh, fuck. Although a fairy druid, I mean, what could be better? I was hoping for like a barbarian or something. So last night, speaking of druids, I was running through. Yeah, here we go. I was running through Rise of the Tyranny of Dragons, and they're like 14th level now. And I threw a whole shitload of Yuan-Ti at them, and up to the hit points, magic use, and everything. And one of my players, who's had a really difficult time shuffling work and playtime, has not played for months. Well, last night he dropped back in, and he's a druid. So he basically cast, Tornado or something like. What's the druid spell?
Whirlwind or something?
Whirlwind or something like that. Anyway, he fucking decimated. I mean, none of them. The challenge rating was so much higher than their party, and they didn't even break a sweat because of the fucking druid ruiner, game ruiner.
More like fun. So Chad, I already rolled for the class. We are going to be an Air Genasi sorcerer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Ooh.
So mine, using just the pre-selected generator, is a human ranger outlander.
Nice. Okay. All right. Now the fun part. We need chat. We need you guys to get in on this, because now we're gonna name character names.
Turtle druid. I don't even know what a turtle druid would look like. That would be so like do they have a fixation with summoning only aquatic animals on land?
I see like a turtle whose shell is like covered in algae and mushrooms and stuff like that. And
yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Okay, so if we don't get some help from chat, we're gonna name each other's characters.
Well, see, mine generates a name for me too.
What's the name generated?
Azir Pashar.
Azir Pashar. Okay.
Yeah,
Sharon.
Came up with.
Air Genasi.
As the Wind Blows.
Puff McGillicuddy.
Puff McGillicuddy. Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy.
First name Duce, last name Pasta.
Oh, we're not getting a lot of help here.
Beyond has a generator in it.
It does.
Yeah, they put the name Whirlwind.
Whirlwind Jones.
Whirlwind Jones.
Well done, shell done.
Well done, shell done.
Okay, Air Genasi, we need a name. Or Hoarfrost. I like Hoarfrost, actually. Or a fairy druid. I can't believe I rolled fucking druid. God damn it.
That's awesome. I think that's just so perfect.
Leaf Breeze.
It's perfect
Breeze in the
because it is my
wind.
most hated class. Breeze of the wind. All right, we're gonna move on. Sprite. No, that's too.
Two on the nose.
Two on the nose. Keep churning them out. When we find a good one, we'll add that. In the meantime, should we move on?
Lemon. Oh yeah, that'd be perfect for your fairy to be a lemon lime.
How about Phil
Lemmy
Adendron? Lemmy Winks.
Lemmy.
Done. Lemmy Winks, the druid. All
The
right.
journey of Lemmywinks.
Lemmy.
Lemmywinks.
Lemmy wings.
You must dig deeper and find your way out, Lemmywinks. You should not give up, Lemmywinks.
I love the 70s Hobbit music.
Right?
Lemmy Winks. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Lemmy Winks is it, obviously, for the
Lemmywinks
fairy
of the
druid.
Nine
All right, we
Colons.
still need an air genasi.
Breezely.
Breeze. Haboob.
Mistral. I like that.
Haboob.
Ooh, Mistral.
Mistral.
I do like that.
Yeah, I like the way or Zephyr.
Ooh, Zephyr.
That's a good one.
Ooh.
Yep, I think Zephyr's it.
Zephyr.
Febreze.
Febreze.
Rude.
Okay,
Rude,
you're
dude.
Febreze.
Febreze.
I actually like the idea of Zephyr Mistral or Mistral Zephyr. Those two
I like
names combined
I
actually
like
sound pretty good.
Febreze.
Mistral Febreze Zephyr. Full name.
Mistral Febreze.
Okay, well, if we're gonna use those, I agree. I think
Mountain Fresh.
I think Zephyr Mistral is good.
Yeah.
Febreze.
Febreze. I like that. Febreze.
I think you should be Febreze, but
Or Febreze.
it's your character. Okay.
Go down the character creation
Right.
Character creation rabbit hole.
All right. All right. What should we do? What should we do? What should we do next? I think we could skip like proficiencies and all that because that's just mechanical stuff. But
Yeah.
let's hit the main stuff. I'm gonna crank this up to level 3 because that way we can do archetypes and whatnot. And
Well, here, let's share your screen then.
yeah, Carl. When in doubt, Carl.
Carl. Carl Cullinane was one of my favorite names from a book series.
All right, Druid Circle is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right.
Do you have Spore Druid? Do you have the Spore?
Was it in
selector
there? No. There's a whole bunch missing. Oh yeah, Circle of the Spores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 15. So I'm just gonna roll a d20 and ignore anything over 15. Fair
Okay.
enough.
That's good.
All right.
Go for it.
9.
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Circle of the land, grassland. Oh, we lost Sharon.
Yeah, she probably hotkeyed something.
Yeah, probably.
Or when you have a lot of tabs open, sometimes you forget.
Yep, that's what
that
I
your
did.
StreamYard tab is open and you accidentally close it.
All right, my
I've done
bonus
that on-
cantrip will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
D20, ignore 19 and 20.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guidance, that's a good one.
Interesting.
All right, I'll pick spells later. We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, scores. We got to wait till Sharon comes back for scores.
Gotta roll those, baby.
Okay, so
Roll 'em.
what all right, you want me to go right into it? Okay,
Yeah,
so
just roll 'em.
I'm thinking that we in basic it was just 3d6 and you did them in order, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, like
let's
you-
do
You pulled out 3d6 dice, and those were the first ones you rolled, and that's what you kept.
Okay,
Yeah,
how about
yeah.
let's do 4 dice, drop the lowest, but do it in order.
No, do me a favor. Do the 3d6. I would be very interested in seeing what that calculus looks like, and then having a conversation about when you finish looking at everything you roll. What if you decide that whole stack of rolling was just not worth it? You know what I mean? Like, just do the traditional roll. I think that makes sense.
Well, okay. Yeah, but the point of me rolling this way is whatever we. Hey, thanks for joining us, Sharon. The point of me building completely randomized is whatever I get, I get.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just roll 3d6. And
okay, so we're going old school original D&D 3d6 in order.
I'm very intrigued to get Barry's opinion on what that would look like from a perspective of, selecting.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do. All right. Strength. Here I go. I'm rolling.
Rolling.
That is an 11. Okay. Dexterity. Holy shit. 17.
Nice.
Wouldn't it be funny if I actually randomly rolled the perfect druid character?
No, it'd be just
That would be
strange.
amazing.
Constitution. There we go. That is a 7. Intelligence. 7. Wisdom.
Wisdom is the primary for a druid, right?
10. And
What's the primary for a druid?
Wisdom. Charisma
Okay.
is a 9. So those are atrocious.
Now here's some of the things we used to do to play with this kind of character generation. I would tell the player, okay, you can choose to swap one of the stats. So obviously they'd probably swap, wisdom with dex because they'd want that druid stack, right?
Yeah.
So wisdom becomes 17 and dex becomes the other score.
Let's do this.
The other thing we used to do from time to time is you deduct 2 to earn 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you take 2 away and then put 1 anywhere else you want to do.
Actually, I like that. I've never done that, but I like that.
Yeah, I mean, even the very beginning of character generation in general, we were already trying to come up with creative ways to kind of take our basic roles and still kind of make it work.
Oh, dude,
You know what I mean?
the first 10 years of playing this game was all about cheating the fucking ability scores. Okay, let's do this. For these purposes, I'm gonna go. I am gonna use the 4 dice, drop the lowest, but we're still gonna do them in order. And what I get, I get. Okay. 3 dice is that's fucking brutal. All right. So first one, I got 11, which is what I rolled last time. Second one, Dex, I got 11, which is much lower. It'd be funny if I got even lower this way. This is 8 and 5 is 13 con. 10 intelligence. Here's the big one.
You're like you're empty. You're
9 wisdom.
Yeah.
And there we go. 16 charisma.
Wow.
You just rolled a bard.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you rolled a bard.
All right. Well,
but this brings up a really good, interesting conversation. The order of which you create your character. If you get too hooked on the idea of a particular class lineage all baked into your mind, does rolling really matter that much? Because you're going to keep rolling until you get a stat set you want.
Right.
So does it make more sense to always just roll stats first and then determine what you're building after you roll your stats? Like that's
my wisdom is wait, your
wisdom's a 9.
I know, but
9.
I'm looking for the racial modifiers. They're not on here.
Did you choose your fairy lineage?
Oh, ability score increases, origin, score calculations. Oh, it's just doing the +2+1 or +1+1+1.
Yeah, remember those mega menus don't show up on your screen for us. So,
okay, so I'll do wisdom 11, and I'll do dexterity 12. All right, so that's a pretty shitty druid character right there.
But see, I mean, right? Does it actually make sense to pick out the class and race first?
To what?
Does it actually even make sense to pick the race and class first?
Well, again, I think it is a question of.
Yeah, see, like I kind of agree with Twisted Duo. I like the idea of just rolling all the dice first. Don't put them in any particular. Well, put them in order, and just wonder. Okay, if I have this stack of rolls, I may have had an idea of what I thought I wanted to play, but the dice, the dice rolls are going to kind of, be, once again, the dice are always the random number generator. They're always the chaos theory.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you're right. This character right here, I would either create a bard or possibly a sorcerer, or maybe a warlock.
Clearly, you're creating anything that's charisma based.
Yeah.
So if you know what you want, obviously point buy is always the best way to go.
Of course, yeah. That's the way I've been ever since I started using D&D Beyond. I've been doing
point buy.
I amend that mostly, not every time, because this last character, the gnome paladin, I actually did roll, and I rolled on Slack. So it was recorded because I'm constantly accused of cheating. But I rolled much higher than here. I'll pull up this character. Severin Snivelferb. No, Vanderferb. I changed his name. So here are my scores. And those were all legit rolled using the method I just did. Although not in order. Not in order. I placed them.
An 18 charisma.
Yeah. Well, this was with the +1/+1/+1 method.
Oh, okay. I got
so I didn't do racial bonuses. I just did +1/+1/+1 across three different scores. But yeah, that was legit. One time method I just used.
I don't know. I mean, this whole conversation we're having about character creation is kind of having me rethink about some of my future campaigns, about how characters are going to get built. I haven't really thought about this in a long time. This is kind of a fun subject for me, because I've always been very kind of build what you want. Yeah.
It's funny because I also Matt is right. The roll first. I mean, you can almost look at it like this is how you were born. What are you going to become? It is a very. I've never done it that way, but that is a very interesting way to roll a character.
I like what Mira's done over. Because Mira, what level are you now? 14.
Yeah, I think I'm 14 now.
One of the other things that's really interesting about character creation, which has been both a positive and a negative for me. Negative in the sense I don't want people pining for levels to kind of fix or finish what they're working on. But the whole thing around the idea that the whole thing around the idea that as you move through the campaign and you level up, right, you're going to get more ability points. You're going to get more options to gradually improve the direction that you want to go in. But it just keeps circling back. If you're going to stick to these methods, rolling the dice first just feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah. Hey, I forgot before I forget, because we are coming up on an hour. We don't have to stop after an hour, but we are coming up there.
Brian's?
I do. Yeah. So, so this right here.
Wait, before we do this, Cher, did you finish your character?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, but go on ahead with Brian's. This could be just spread on to another episode.
Okay.
And you know that's true. She did the bite the tongue thing. She's like,
yeah. We don't need to go through this whole thing, but I do want to introduce it. So anyway, I've been working in conjunction with the bearded nerd, Brian Gomez, who is an awesome world builder and content creator and DM. He is if any of you have had the chance to speak with him, you know that he is just super passionate and super creative. And he builds entire worlds for his campaigns. I don't think he ever uses published modules. So we're collaborating pursuant to RPG and Company kind of becoming a creator space, as Jason and Sharon and I have been talking about. I have been working with Brian on this character builder, character background prompts. Now, this is all his content that he came up with. I have just given it a pretty face. But this
It's a
is
very pretty face.
well, thank you very much.
A nice face.
And this is my my fairy druid, who looks like a Viking. So, but really, all it is, for those struggling with how to create a background, because a lot of people, it's not apparent on how to create a character, or it doesn't come easily. So for those struggling with coming up with a background story, which may very well inform your race and your class and alignment and how you play, he has created this awesome list here. So it just goes through things like, what was your childhood and youth and family like? And then a bunch of questions. So you can obviously just pick from these. You can completely randomize it. He has everything numbered out to 20 for obvious reasons. What are your personality and quirks? And this really just builds on, when you're in the player's handbook and you choose a background, like say Sage, it gives you like a 6 different choices. Well, this is a much deeper dive into that. What was your adventurer training life like? What are your physical traits and habits? And then going forward from there, some questions. So by utilizing this tool, and then there's a worksheet at the end. By utilizing this tool, you can really you can either create an entire backstory and background this way, or it can serve as a jumping off point for the thought process of, you know what, now that I see this stuff, I kind of know that this is my background and this is what I want to kind of play and whatnot. So I wanted to use this tonight, but this process is really interesting because it's eliciting a lot more questions than I thought it would.
I do remember Traveler. And one of these days when we get a chance to talk about other role-playing game methods of character creation, I think that'd be a real fun subject in the future. But Traveler had a very interesting way. And as I'm watching this prompt piece...
Let me interrupt you for 1 sec. So I just want to say, anyway... so we're going to publish this, and it'll be available for purchase on both RPG and Co. Website, in the shop, and then also through the Bearded Nerd. It'll be a minimal cost digital download that you can use. So anyway,
that's awesome.
I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot. Okay, Jason, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, because it lends to that. Like, the thing I liked about that document that you guys have been working on is I've been so much like in love with the idea that character creation should just be a story. And I like how, writing your background and like looking at all these different little nuances that kind of make up your character. I kind of, it's like, I kind of want the story to always be kind of like the main evolution of the character, the main idea of the character. And then everything else becomes ancillary and becomes important as you move through the world. It'd be interesting to find yourself just starting off in a world and the world itself becomes your character generator.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, and I know people toy with.
So would you start off as a tiny baby?
Well, not. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I
know a lot of people.
You have 2 hit points, and in your inventory is a binky and a diaper.
That's too extreme. Like, I know a lot of people toy with the idea of level 0, right? There's even been a level 0 campaign that was published recently.
Yeah.
A lot of people like, what about your journey as just a commoner, and you're transitioning from commoner into the adventure space, and you kind of let that story of that evolution kind of determine your adventuring story after the fact, and that maybe stats come later, or maybe you just have standard 10s all across the board, and as you adventure and journey and adventure and build your story and build the idea of your character, you eventually identify, like maybe Barrybot's Air Genasi doesn't start as an Air Genasi, but maybe just starts as a simple kind of nomadic Genasi that's looking to discover herself. and as she's journeying, she has these adventures and these lessons, and they kind of shape the story. And the story says, okay, based on being in the story, your dex is now 14 because you've been practicing a lot of nimble skills. Therefore, maybe your dex should be a priority for you right now. I just enjoy watching the players create these amazing stories about their characters. I often even forget they roll their stats. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so weird. Or
I actually, as much as I am tuned into scores and levels for the sake of new abilities, not just level for the sake of leveling, because I actually think after about 11, characters get kind of boring because there's just too much shit you can do. But I really love that idea there of growing. That I never played. Obviously, I'm familiar with it. I never played Traveler, so I'm not familiar with that particular.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's old school.
It's
from the 80s. Yeah, it's from the 80s.
I'm not familiar with that particular mechanic, but I do remember Middle Earth role playing, and that had a much more robust skill list, and those skills included like your attributes, and you could put, and it was a percentage scale. Okay. So there was much more room for growth, and every time you got experience and I don't even want to say leveled up, but every time you got experience, you could put points into anything you wanted. So you could be the jack of all trades, or you could be the Gandalf sword wielding wizard. Like that's still
so
one
it's like
thing.
A milestone kind of system in a way.
Kind of, but it was not so much milestone as completely open ended on how you develop your character. Okay, so instead of I'm a wizard, I can't use armor, I can't use weapons, yada, 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 you could say, like I said, like Gandalf, you could say, I want to be a wizard, but I also want to wear armor, and I want to use a sword, and I want to be really good at picking locks. You could do that.
Well, like Ogren says, micro leveling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be a good way to describe it. And that kind of goes... a little bit kind of goes along with what you're saying, Jason, where you develop your character based on what you do rather than
what you said.
But I know Barry, because you mentioned Tekken, and I know you're kind of a gamer nerd too when it comes to like online gaming and stuff. I kind of feel like there's an affinity for like the skill point tree. Like we've talked about that too in the past, Brian, about the affinity for a skill point tree. Like I feel like I as much as I enjoy my games and the people that I play with, I enjoy their backstories the most. I find their backstories to be the most interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
But after, having a conversation with you, Brian, I know I've had a couple gamer conversations with Cher before. I've been gravitating towards like developing skill trees again. Like if you're creating a character for the purpose of involvement in a game, does it really make a lot of sense for an open-ended campaign to have a completely predisposed character ready to go? Does it really make that much sense? Or do you have this new kind of adventurer that's trying to find their way in the world, and the world's going to shape that adventure, and as it shapes you, your character comes into evolution and comes into kind of like creation?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, and like I said, I didn't expect this conversation or this topic to go in this direction, but I kind of agree. As great as 5e is, and it really is a great system. We've had this conversation. The difficulty the DC based system can be applied to almost anything. There's enough meat to it where you can feel like you're customizing and whatnot. But to play devil's advocate, I do agree with you. One thing I've always said, and this is where I have a problem with Tasha's taking away the racial modifiers, and now 1D&D evening everything out even more. Although I'm going to contradict myself, because once I did start delving into the 1D&D backgrounds, I think it is a fantastic mechanic. Yeah. But I have often felt like no matter what character you create, you're still somewhat similar to every other character in the party, other than your story. Let's put your backstory aside. All right. How many people in the party can cast detect magic? How many people can cast mage hand? How many people can stealth really well? How many people can pick a lock? It's after a while, it's like, am I really that different other than, I'm a paladin and I rush up and hit with my big sword type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's usually the normal characters, like the ones that don't have magic that are the special ones. Like Orem in Campaign 3.
Yeah, kind of
the most unique.
And that's what, Matt makes that point a lot, is like, a fighter can be one of the most interesting characters there is, whereas my head goes to what kind of cockamamie race and class combination could I make to make my character interesting. But I agree, at the end of the day, it comes down to your story and how you role play, because the system is not, I don't think it is set up to develop your character via mechanics. I think that does require what you were talking about, the Traveler model, or the Middle Earth role-playing model, or your model, or a skill tree, where you really can, like, okay, I've spent my time putting my points here and here and here. I'm the guy that is going to pick a lock. Okay, nobody else in the party can do it as well as me. I'm the lock pick guy. Rather than everybody saying, I give you help and I try, but and it's like, so I really, it's not the way I normally develop characters, but I really like that line of thought. But
I think one of the things
that requires a completely different set of rules.
One of the things that I think as a storyteller you have to take into consideration, since I do it full time, as a living, life board games, true,
kind of.
One of the things I have started to take more and more into consideration since I've been playing 5e is I've made the DC a variable to the attempt. So if somebody's not proficient in lockpicking, the DC jumps up for them.
Yeah.
If somebody's proficient in lockpicking, the DC is lowered for them because they automatically have a somewhat advantage to it. But failures increase the DC at the same rate of success and failures. So it maintains the idea of the challenge. But,
and I've tried something similar with my more in-depth skill expertise rules, which are admittedly slightly complicated.
And I know I asked this question earlier, but I keep coming back to it. Barry, I mean, if you wanted to play in another campaign with me, which I think the group probably has already said they want to do another campaign together. I think that's been kind of mentioned a couple times. Do you think there would be a much more interesting way to build a character from what you've seen? Because you've built the traditional Mira character, right? You've built her the way you did from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Does it feel like it deserves a kind of, review of, should it be more restrictive? Should it be more open-ended? Do you feel that building a character, like everything that you've learned so far being in the campaign, what would be your next approach to building a character or doing that creation method?
I mean, honestly, I kind of like go off of impulse, really. I still like writing the stories first and then creating the stats after, because like I feel like when you create a character, you're like meeting them in person for the first time, and like you'll see their appearance and then maybe learn about their story first, and then you'll learn their proficiencies after. That's my approach to it. So
but what happens when you get to like 8th level and suddenly you don't love your character anymore?
You multi-class.
Yeah,
or you jump off a cliff and create a new one.
Oh, they slipped on a banana.
I mean, generally multi-classing, I think, murder them. Vince, of course, Vince, murder them. Generally, I think multi-class is D&D 5e's answer to I'm changing my career path, basically.
Yeah, the workaround.
But they're a multi-class. The multi-class mechanics, I think, are even more restrictive.
Yeah, because to be honest, when I was playing my rogue character, it was kind of a different pace for me to get used to, and it was a little bit difficult for me, but I still loved the character as a person, and I still wanted to play that person. So to me, if I find a challenge in something, I want to learn about it. I want to overcome it because then I don't have to play them again.
I love that about how you play your character. And I think that's kind of what created your nickname, the Mirrormetrics, because I love how you push the boundaries of what you think the mechanics are doing versus the creativity of your character space. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the creativity of your character is what really establishes the boundaries for me.
Right.
Not necessarily the mechanics.
I really admire that approach, Sharon. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I could do that as a DM.
Well, that's because you're a control freak. That's a different problem.
I don't know. Maybe I am. As a DM, if a player really is not enjoying their character, I'm not going to force them to hang on to it because it's just going to take away from the experience. I will, however, because I'm a stickler for continuity, I will, however, work with them on a new backstory, how that affects their current character's backstory, and write that character out of the campaign to maybe come back again. And I've actually had a couple really successful kind of mini side arcs come
out of that. Yeah. Interesting.
So if somebody wants to change, they need to give me a good reason. They need to give me a really well thought out backstory for the new character. And we need to work on a story on how that happens so that it's believable.
Yeah. It's like character creation to me is like it's building a relationship with that person.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and maybe even discovering that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, and I can say this with absolute certainty, the idea of Mira 8 months ago is not the same Mira now. It's just not. You can try to justify it whatever you want, but if you look at the notes and you look at where she is now as a character within the game, she's totally different than what she started. And I've prefaced every zero session I've ever started with, if you're in my open world campaign, you're going to have an idea of what you think you are at the beginning, but what you become at the end of it is going to be wholly unique. The Gnome Somebody patent copyright that. Gnome. Oh my God, that's awesome. That is brilliant. I want that. Gnome. That is awesome.
Whoops, that was supposed to be a copyright. That's funny.
Oh my God.
No, I'm really excited to play this character. But I mean, look at the critical role on all the campaigns. Look at the character development on them.
Yeah.
But I think that could be hard though for DMs when it comes to the character creation challenge. I mean, sure, we want to create an open world, a fun world, and a place for people to practice the art of, telling the story of their character. Sure, we use mechanics to help us resolve intersections, right? When things hit an intersection, and we might need mechanics to help resolve it, and then that outcome gives the players opportunities to either build upon or realize that they've weakened their character through a series of intersections where they're suddenly like, wow, I kind of feel like when you think about Ford in the Mighty Nine, I think Travis genuinely fell out of love with the whole Uk'otoa thing. I think he didn't like the dark kind of like narrative that his character was taking on. And I don't think he liked it. And I think he was sitting around and started playing around with the idea of a new paladin type that goes through self-discovery. And because through self-discovery, they didn't like the whole Uk'otoa thing, then you know what? I want to be attached to the Wild Mother as a new kind of paladin. And
you know what, though? I don't dispute that. I think you're probably right. I will say for me personally, Ford was one of my favorite characters from the Mighty Nine. And when he made that change, it completely killed the character for me. And not just because, like, oh, I like a warlock better than paladin, but it lost all drive for me and all meaning, and it killed
You're
the character
upset.
for me.
You're upset that he doesn't have that southern drawl.
No, I think pursuant to your attitude, Sharon, I think that, yeah, that could be very accurate, Jason, that he just fell out of love with that character, but it was also, in my opinion, a very compelling character and a super awesome, what do you call it? Drive, with the whole Ukatoa thing. And I think when he dropped that, the character lost all depth.
I think,
and then he was just like the guy in the back, casting spells.
I think Vince has got a point here. This is an interesting point. A little too much parallel to Vax. Kind of the dark tropey kind of gradually becoming bad boy trope. I think, or bad person trope is the part that made me fall out of love with it.
Exactly. There was no drama left.
Well, and so this may actually help answer part of that reason why the drama disappeared. I was looking forward to the resolution of Ukatoa.
Well, so was I.
I was looking
big
forward
time
to its resolution, because that resolution was taken away.
That was a major story arc.
But I have to compliment Matt on something that I think a lot of DMs struggle with, and I love doing it too. Sometimes there's unfinished stories. And it's not easy. If a character player makes a decision to do something different,
I have no problem with unfinished stories. Like I said, that leaves doors open for revisiting a story or a character or anything later on. I just personally feel like that character lost all depth after he made that change.
I'm
Get it, Jeff?
I'm also a huge fan of the fact that the character creation could produce in-game love interest. So obviously when Jester and Ford are gradually falling in love, I think that kind of affected Ford's or Travis's choice about getting away from the dark Vax side of the challenge and more towards, learning more about the Wild Mother and becoming this, this new paladin, the Oath of the Sea or whatever that new oath was that they, the Sea Paladin, that they kind of built out of it. But
I don't fault
I'm
him.
only bringing it up because I think it's a really good example.
No, I know.
Character generation can continue to occur.
Yeah. And I don't fault him for making that change. And the way he and Matt handled it was great. This is my personal opinion. I lost love for that character when he made that change. I'm not saying he was wrong to do it or it was done badly at all. That's just totally my opinion. But fair. I do agree that, that was a really, really fantastic example of changing the course of a character in a very well thought out way.
While playing a campaign.
Okay. Thanks, Vince. I will meditate on my transgression.
Oh my God, I do love my new chair, man. It's so much more comfortable.
So Sharon, we need to do one more thing with your character before we end tonight. I can't believe we've talked this long about this ad hoc.
It's all about creating characters.
It is.
And then,
you need to pick your subclass, your archetype, before we leave. I ended up with Circle of the Land. And then I think that we should finish off these characters.
What class did you end up going with, Bear?
I ended up with Sorcerer.
Ooh, talk about having to know a lot of math.
Oh no, don't do that.
I love sorcerers. Grasslands, Vince. I love sorcerers. I love wild magic sorcerers. Whenever somebody plays one in my campaign, I let them abuse the fuck out of the wild magic rules. Like, where it says every time you cast a level 1 spell, your Tides of Chaos, you get advantage. Okay. And every time you cast a level 1 spell, if the DM allows it, you roll a d20, and if you roll a 1, then there's a wild magic effect. And I think it says, I have to read it again. I think it says if you automatically get a wild magic effect, like if you just allow it to happen and roll on the table, then you get your Tides of Chaos back immediately.
So I've been building a lot of new wild magic tables and charts. Go ahead, Bear.
I actually went with Storm Sorcery for Sorcerer.
Oh,
that's
nice.
cool.
Nice.
I like
Very
that.
fancy.
Yeah, I like that.
Sweet choice, Febreze.
Febreze.
Fabrice.
But on the topic of wild magic related to character creation, because the new campaign framework I'm building is Divergence, Divinity is gone completely. It's gone because it's right when the Celestial Gate gets sealed. So there's no Divinity that's going to be around to support any of the player characters. And because of the Age of Arcanum and the complete collapse of the arcane reality of Exandria, magic is permanently wild for now. Like it's temporarily, it's kind of like temporarily wild. So I'm building a series of random charts
I love that.
on. And one of them is going to be, so there's going to be the source of the wild magic chart that'll cross-reference to alternating charts. That way it's virtually impossible for a player to remember all the combinations. So, one of my favorite ones I wrote up was for the next 24 hours, you randomly banish. So you could be sitting there drinking, and then suddenly your taker crashes, to the table, and you're gone.
I think the wild magic
come back 20 minutes later.
Yeah,
and you're back, and you're like,
I think the wild
That's
magic
crazy
table, and especially one like you're developing, and we need to talk about that offline because we need to get that published and up.
It's just been.
I think that can make
head.
for the most awesome role-playing opportunities.
But once again, it feels like we're always striving to look for something that introduces uniqueness and randomness. You know what I mean? Like there's so much formula that you start off with now.
Yeah.
You become hungry for the unique and random nature of your game.
Yeah.
It just feels like that these days. And so I'm back into that. I don't want to go to a 20-page book with like 25,000 charts to look through. I just want to do ones that kind of, make sense.
I think we need a squad leader version of D&D.
No. Did I say
okay?
No enough?
Okay, so you take a long rest, consult X number of charts to see how well you sleep, and
we're almost done. First of all, Barry, can you send me the link for that character? I think I want to borrow that character because I have a great idea for that character that you just built.
Febreze?
Yeah, send me her link.
Okay, your name is now Febreze.
Just send me her share link because I want to do something with that. But the other thing that me and my friend Ivar are going to work on starting next Tuesday night is we're going to start building a wargaming rule set for D&D so that I can finally take all of my miniatures and we're going to literally start introducing into the campaigns for the future campaigns I got coming up, where if a major battle can ensue where two competing armies are, playing out in your story, we're going to build a rule set to let that be played out.
That is something badly needed because even just a large encounter, your 6-person party meets, 30 thugs or whatever in the street. That takes like 4 hours to run.
Better yet, your favorite, when you have a party of 4 druids and they all summon beasts, and suddenly you have 82 leopards attacking your 4 orcs.
That's awesome.
So yeah, hopefully, Ivar's going to join me Tuesday night and live on the TTRPG Academy Twitch channel. We're going to be asking for people to help us do the builds, and we're going to do.
That's going to be my next. That's going to be my next merch item. Is an I hate Druid or an anti Druids T-shirt. I mean,
that's awesome.
Whoever created that, it's like, let's create a character that can do anything.
Oh my god, that's funny. How did we go almost an hour and a half?
I don't
It's the
know.
longest we've
Seriously.
gone, and we didn't even plan tonight very well. You know what I mean? We thought we were doing the amazing DM 101 thing that Sharon
I
built
know,
for
and
us.
because of my dumb fucking not paying attention, it's like, oh shit, let's talk about how are we going to structure this? And it's been an hour and a half, so go figure.
I do think in the future we should have a free-form day from time to time where
Oh, of course,
I like
absolutely.
the idea that we pick a day every now and then that we all agree, we come with a topic we think we like. And
That's
then
that's gonna send Sharon into convulsions.
No, I don't think so. I think from time to time we should just get out of the structure in general, and maybe Cher has an idea about. I know she loves magic items. She writes That's the other thing that you and Sharon need to work together on. Sharon, you write some of the most amazing fucking magic stuff ever. Like, I will wake up after a gaming session with her, and waiting for me in the private Discord chat is like, okay, I've been thinking about this all night. Here you go. And it's just this diary of this amazing stuff she thought up of, and she thinks up of it in a way that helps the other players. Like, she's being creative for their benefit. I love that. I felt.
All right,
I
Sharon,
have a lot of love for.
Let's connect on that offline because we may be able to do. I am up to 30 magic items in my homebrew kitchen collection, and I've been trying to figure out at what point do I take them and publish them into an actual book. So let's talk about that offline. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to suggest that we skip rollies tonight and just let Sharon close us out since I kind of fucked us on the topic tonight. We will talk about the DM topic next week as we are already set for that.
Yep, got the notes and
got the notes.
So much I want to talk about with that.
So on that note, Sharon, you win rollies tonight by default.
Lucky me. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us for another episode of Lawfully Chaotic. We had a lot of fun talking about character creation and also creating characters somewhat. There's going to be probably a part 2 along the way, so be sure to check that out. As always, my name is Sharon, and I'm Barry Bot. You can catch me here on Instagram and also on Saturdays at the Twitch Club's D&D's Twitch Club, Twitch D&D. On Saturdays between 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time for the Graying Lands campaign, where I play an awesome druid named Mayra, who is also the progenitor of Mirametrix. And Brian, where can we find you?
You could find me at linktree/rpgandco.com. Best place to find me is Instagram. Same thing, rpgandco.com. Check out my website. I am constantly trying to add merchandise and content. There's a lot of stuff that we're juggling right now, so hopefully a lot more of that to follow. And that's it.
Where can we find you, storyteller?
Best place is just to head over to Twitch RPG Academy, and all my socials are over on my. I know, right? All my socials are on my Twitch channel. It's the best way to find us. The other best way to talk to me and chat me up is to head over to our Discord. I love our Discord. We have a lot of fun on there. We're almost up to 400 people. We're super close.
Nice.
So we've got a nice growing crowd over there. If you don't know who he is, Kaz the DM is currently recruiting for a game, so feel free to pop into the Discord and talk to him. We've got lots of creative channels, lots of places to ask questions. It's a very safe and fun space, and I do run all of my games through my Discord and through StreamYard, and that's what I do for a living, folks, is I run D&D games professionally, and I'm having a blast. Some upcoming projects, me and Brian, and if Barry Bot wants to be included, we are thinking of building a Gen Con for a gaming convention for the region that I'm in, and maybe see if we can't pull something off with that. We're also working on getting some more guests out, and we're going to continue working on that. And like I've always said, if you ever just want to talk about how to get a game going and you need a server, you need some help, you need anything to get one going, just reach on out to me, and I'll be happy to get you started. I enjoy that aspect of it very much.
And likewise, if you have merchandise ideas, if you've got a small business you're starting and you want some help with that, you have content ideas that you need in presentable form, that's what I do. So reach out to me. And if you just want some awesome conversation and super awesome creativity, that's Sharon's department. Whoops. That way. That way. God, I still can't get that down. That way. Fuck! That way.
Just gotta think in the reverse.
I know.
I'm gonna point at Brian. Just gotta think in the reverse.
Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us. Have a nice and safe evening, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.